I got a serious question for you. Are you practicing what you preach? Do you do what you tell other people to do or advice you give? Are you living what you're suggesting? Whether you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, whatever. Because it does matter. It really does. If you want to have a great impact, not only on the people you deal with, your clients, your customers, your children, but also yourself. In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of being congruent. In other words, living or being what you say. Not having a do as I say, don't do as I do kind of mentality. And also, I want to give you an example of something I did. It wasn't planned, but it's something I did to do this, to heal thyself, and it worked. So let's move on. How do you feel when you witness other people not practicing what they preach? Let me give you some examples. Years ago, I used to go to allergist office, get my allergy shots. The specialty for this office was asthma and allergy, both of which I still suffer from to some degree. But I remember driving up to their office, and I pull in through the back because of the parking situation, and I'd see 9 times out of 10 the staff working there, working with people like me that have breathing problems and allergies, smoking. And let's see here, it wasn't that long ago where I live now, I saw that as well, but they weren't smoking, now they vape. But the same thing. These are people that are trying to help people like me stay well, stay healthy, work with my asthma, allergies, the whole bit. And yet, how they practice in their own life doesn't go with the advice that they give out. The same thing with people in healthcare that are obese. They take down all your vitals and what you're trying to do, and they're not practicing what they preach. Same thing with coaches. Coaches like in physical fitness, coaches in personal coaches, things like that, that are overweight. You know that they've done a lot of successful things in their life, and you can see them getting larger and larger every time you meet them. Something's not right there. People who say, just do as I say, not do as I do. Now, I don't know if that's like that today. I don't know a lot of parents today, but when I was growing up, my parents, a lot of parents, teachers would say that. Basically, I know what's best, but I'm not practicing it myself. It's hard. It's hard to take that advice, right? Live in your word. People are more likely to follow you if you do. There's a lot of physical fitness coaches, health coaches. I can think of one on top of my head that he went through natural ways of reducing his A1C, his diabetes. He was pre-diabetic, lost weight. And that's what he talks about in his coaching. And he lives it. How do you know he lives it? You can see the weight that he's lost. He's much thinner, much healthier looking, much more energetic, because he's practicing what he's preaching, what he's selling. Now, this is a little bit of both. I'm going to talk about my heal thyself moment I had. And it blew my mind, to be quite honest with you, because it was an experiment that I didn't plan on. It just kind of happened. And I tend to wake up early in the morning, what's called the witching hour, around 3 a.m. Anytime after midnight and before the alarm goes off, to me, that's the witching hour. But I will wake up and not necessarily know what the cause is, but it's generally a time that I have my most creativity. On good days, when I'm saying not like this last one that I had, but on good days, I'll think about things like, oh, I got to remember to pay that bill tomorrow. Or I got to call Bob first thing in the morning. I forgot to put it on my calendar. So I'll reach over and turn my phone on and make a couple notes. And if I do that, I get it out of here. I don't have to think about it. I'll go right back to sleep. Sometimes I don't have anything on my mind. I just get up and I'm wide awake, and sometimes just going to the bathroom and coming back to bed, it reboots my brain. I can go back to sleep right away. Other times my brain is on fire. It just starts feeding itself. Generally, it's a good thing. Like I said, that's usually my one most creative time of day. It's weird, that time of sleep, I was trying to research it. I call it twilight sleep, but that's not what it's called. It's something else. And everything I read went against it. But I've always been like this, to where I'm half awake, half asleep. And it's very creative. I can control my thoughts and dreams. Or generally when I dream, I'm kind of a passive victim to whatever's going on, whether it's good or bad. And I'm more likely to remember these things. And sometimes when my brain's on fire, I have to get up, I have to walk around, and if it's something really good, like an idea for a video, I'll go in my office, turn on my computer, and start typing and researching things like that. It's usually a good thing. And after I'm done, either I get too tired and I can't do anymore, I'll put a pin in it and go back to sleep, or I'll stay up until the rest of the day working on that. So it's not always a bad thing, but it's time where people tend to wake up around 3 a.m. for all sorts of different reasons. But for me, it's my mind just needs to wake up and do things. Sometimes that creativity goes awry. Now, if you know me very well, you know I have a tendency for anxiety. Always have. Sometimes it's worse than others. I deal with it my own ways. But yeah, when the anxiety kicks in and I also wake up at the witching hour, that's usually a bad combination. What happens when I have that is that my thoughts go very negative, very dark, catastrophizing, thinking about all the possible bad outcomes. And they feed each other. All these different thoughts feed each other. More come into my head. And sometimes when that happens, I have to get up and just walk around the house. I have to completely wake up, reboot my brain before I can even think about going back to bed. I have to calm these things down. Well, last week I had that and didn't get out of bed. I was trying to deal with it while I was still in bed. And I did all sorts of things, trying to not think. If you know me, that never happens. Or just walk around to gather myself, to get some reality in my head. Because the thing when I'm in this twilight sleep, it's not a real world per se. It's very, like I said, very creative, very dreamlike. And I just couldn't break out of it. It was just snowballing, getting worse and worse. And I tried things like, don't think about it, relax. I got heart palpitations, trying to do some deep breathing, doing some little prayers to try to calm me down. Nothing was working. And I was this close to getting up and walking around. And if it gets really bad, I have to go outside. I mean, I can get claustrophobic from it. And that rarely happens. It's happened a few times in my life. But anyhow, so my inner coach, my inner drill sergeant, as I call it, started yelling at me, not out loud. I didn't want to wake anyone else up in the house, but in my head. And I've used this a couple times. And I just said, stop this now. And that kind of jarred me a little bit to stop thinking in that direction. And I thought to myself, my inner drill sergeant said, Don, you put out some great videos about people helping other people with their thoughts and goals and thinking, mindset type things. He says, you need to do that to yourself right now, which is exactly what I did. I went in to my envisioning, like my dream board. What do I have on there? Goals, aspirations I want to get. What things I can get, what is possible, like my goals, my things I want to do the next month, focusing on things that are active, intentional, positive, and I know I can do. So I started focusing on those. And within just a few minutes, all of those negative thoughts, those what ifs, oh, this is terrible, oh, it's going to be a bad day, all those kind of things stopped. And I started focusing on the good stuff, things I have to be thankful for. I was, gratitude of what's coming up and my plans, things like that. And I kid you not, this blew my mind. Probably with less than 10 minutes of doing that, I was back to sleep. I was calm, no heart palpitations, no rapid shallow breathing, no signs of anxiety. I got back to sleep. And so I was coaching me with the concepts that I try to coach here and other places, and it worked. And I went like, wow. Because I never had a real life situation to where I had to test it like that. I never planned on testing it like that. Those kind of things I don't think are easy to plan. I mean, I practice it in my life, but that was one time I really played hardcore coach with myself. And when I woke up in the morning, which was the proper time, my usual time waking up, I felt like I got good sleep. So anyhow, that's just an example of, quote, physician healing thyself. Let's see, what else do I have here to share? Yeah, concentrating on my goals, my vision board, where I want to go, who I want to be. It filled up my mind with things that are positive to where there was no room left for the negative. It was awesome. So this is a short video. I know, it's only, 12 minutes so far. 2 points I want to bring up that I want to get to you about watching this video is, number one, don't be a hypocrite, okay? Regardless of what you're doing for a living, regardless of whether you're a parent, grandparent, whatever, don't be a hypocrite, especially little kids, because they learn more by your actions and behaviors than by what you say. And if those two things are congruent, what you say and what you do, you're more believable, you're more trustworthy. People are more likely to do what you want them to do. And again, practice what you preach, for yourself. If you're a health coach, do what you tell your clients. If you tell them you need to exercise 3 times a week, you better be out there exercising 3 times a week. If you're into weight loss or things like that, look in the mirror, step on the scale. If you are getting kind of portly, you need to start practicing what you're teaching others what to do. Otherwise, they're not going to trust you. They're going to say, you tell me to do this and you do the opposite. What's the deal? Same thing like going to the doctor's office and seeing the staff outside smoking and vaping. Makes you wonder, do they really believe in what they're telling you, or are they just reading a script to you? And again, when you do, healing yourself, practicing what you preach, it develops trust with others. They're more likely to follow what you say. They're more likely to trust you in other areas when you do that. Be real. Be who you say you are. Don't be teaching people stuff you know nothing about. You can learn it, but you got to practice it, all right? Yeah, there's some examples I wouldn't do, like being a heart surgeon. I don't think I'd want to work on myself. But you get my drift. Anyhow, this was a shorty. It just came up when I had that experience at night. It's like, oh man, I got to share this because it really works. If you apply what you're teaching, directing others to do, and you apply it to your own life, if it's real, if you really believe in it, and it's good stuff, it will work on you too. So there's nothing wrong with that. All right, this is Donald Henderson signing out. Have a great week. God bless. See you in the next video.